premiered on Friday. Loneliness and a struggle to find love during the Christmas season are themes that are seen throughout the movie. Samuel Frauenstein is the film's producer, and he joins me in studio. Samuel, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Sam.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
And to you.
Okay, so we tried not to give away a lot in the intro. What is Trouvoete about?
Well, Trouvoete is basically a story of love lost, love found, and it's a real love story. So it's one of those that, you know how in the beginning of a relationship everything is always so sweet and so wonderful until it's not. and that's what Trouvoete is about. It's about real love and the struggles that we go through that. It's on a backdrop of Christmas. So, I mean, what's better than Christmas and love stories? It's fantastic.
It's the perfect time for couples to go to the movies.
Absolutely.
So you're telling multiple stories at the same time?
Yeah, there's three basic storylines. There's three couples, and it's each couple struggle to get there, you know. So a lot of times we either race to church to get married, or there's others of us that try and avoid it like the plague.
At all
so
costs.
you know, it just tells the story of these three people and what they need to do to get to find their real love.
So what is it about? We're going to play a clip in a couple of seconds. We want to show our audiences. But what is it about good rom-coms? Afrikaans movies at the moment seem to hit that comedy, that emotion, great casting on that note. What is it about these movies at the moment that people love?
I think the South African film audience, you know, there's some credibility in the local films now, and I think the filmmakers are having fun. You know, we've got fantastic talent.
That, yeah.
You know, the director on this film is Trouvoete. I mean, he's an Oscar-nominated director. So our actors are fantastic. The behind-the-scenes crew is fantastic, and thanks to the support of guys like the DTI, we can start making movies. You know, the sponsors, those guys, and it's because of that the audience have now realized that we're on par with international stuff.
Samuel, we're playing the trailer at the moment, right? And I want to talk about this cast. This just seems like a really great cast.
Oh yeah, I mean, to have Erika Wessels, Lika Burning, we had Boa Bosch, Stefan Ludik in there, Rika Sennett, Liz Meyering, and Richard van der Westhuizen. I mean, we were blessed with having the creme de la creme of South African actors in it.
You know, a little bit earlier, and we obviously urge everybody to go and check out this film, but when you've got a heavyweight like Trouvoete, who's been known to make these big movies and maybe in many ways some serious films, and here he gets to stretch his comedy arm. I don't know how much of a producer you have to keep him away from the straight and narrow and say, you know, let's be as funny as we can be.
I mean, he's funny. I mean, he's just a funny guy. He has been known for the serious stuff, you know, Sarafina, Yesterday, but at his heart, he's a comic. I mean, he loves life. He's got such a passion for it, and that comes through on screen. Absolutely.
There's magic, and I don't know. You know, I'm not in this space of entertainment, but there must be magic when you find the right cast. Do you find the iconic lead actor and then pair everybody off him, or is it a nightmare for a producer to find people that click? Because I always feel with rom-coms it's got to be chemistry, and yet these people have only met like half an hour, 3 days, 5 days before.
I mean, if that. We were fortunate when we wrote the script with Terrence Neil Prinsloo. We had the lead in mind. I mean, we had Boa Bosch in mind, and then we started writing around that. And as we wrote the characters, the actors just kind of popped in. And when we gave them the script, they all loved it. So it was a divine intervention, for lack of a better word, that just got everybody together, and, you know, the chemistry really comes through.
Okay, so it's opened a couple of days ago. What has the reaction been from South African audiences?
Fantastic. I mean, we've been so blessed with the feedback that we've gotten. Cinemas being full. I mean, we released with Star Wars, which is a massive, massive film.
Tough weekend.
But to see the local guys just kind of rallying a movie, that makes me so proud. So the feedback's been great. One of the nicest responses I've got was from a lady that said in 5 years she's never wanted to put up a Christmas tree. After walking out of Trouvoete, she went and she bought one. So that's beautiful, man.
I can only imagine that when you shoot a film like this, it's mixed audiences. It's not only tailored at one particular market, because you say we are in a bit of a silly season at the moment.
I mean, the films that we try and do for South Africa. I mean, it
South
doesn't.
African stories.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, our stories are universal. I mean, everybody goes through love, through Christmas, through the whole thing. So if you're English, Afrikaans, whatever, I mean, it really caters to everyone.
We only get to see, Samuel, the end production when we go into a theatre, when we have our popcorn and our drinks. But we're not necessarily aware of the challenges of putting together a production, if there's any. Has there been? There must be.
Oh boy, huge. From on set, having the camera angles right, having this right, having that right, having Daryl decide, let's shoot from this side, and everything moves across. I mean, then it's the editing, and it's the music, and I mean, we went through about 140 hours of footage to create this movie. And if I tell you, every single time we go through an edit, you sit there going, I wonder if we shouldn't do it this way or that way. So you're constantly questioning yourself.
You've got to make peace with it.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's this beautiful saying. It says, a movie is never finished. It's only abandoned.
I like that. We are, one of the things you alluded to a little bit earlier is that now's the right time to make South African movies. South Africans are starting to watch themselves and telling their stories. Is it becoming easier to make South African movies? And when I mean easy, I mean from a finance perspective. You mentioned the DTI. Is it becoming easier to tell the South African story, or are you still having to do the song and dance and convince them that this is going to work?
I mean, I think it's become a lot easier. But there's always the challenges, especially when you do something slightly out of the box, slightly different. We've been incredibly blessed with fantastic product placement clients. Now, product placement, as you know, in the States, I just got the figures, it's a $750 billion
But look
industry.
at the last James Bond.
Absolutely. So, we've started incorporating that. You do tend to get a little bit of flack from some of the critics, which is fine, but that allows us to employ 60 people a year. That allows us to make 5 movies a year. So that really allows us to take all these beautiful South African stories and give it to the people that are interested in seeing it.
Okay, so there's somebody sitting at home. You've sold this movie amazingly well. They need to go and get details. It's available everywhere.
Absolutely. Ster-Kinekor Metro Independent Cinemas. Check out our Facebook, our Twitter, and we'll keep you updated as we go along.
Samuel Frauenstein, thank you very much for joining me. He's the film producer of Trouvoete. It's available at all the great cinema houses, and we recommend it's a South African film. Go and support it. Forget about the other stuff. Forget about the other stuff. We're about to take a nap. Go and check it out. It's called Trouvoete.